I merged two clips together because it flows continuously. There's no break in the action, but I thought it was important to get this beginning context of Colin Cowherd actually asking Ben Johnson a long-winded question, because I thought his contextual information was really important. Let's go ahead and cue that up. This was posted by Matt Clapp at the Bear Necess. I think that's short for Bear Necessities, but don't quote me on that. It's not my account. You can see he also had the tag in there with the original tweet from Seth Wickersham. So he was responding with this video clip to that tweet.
Okay. You want me to play that?
Yeah, let's play this clip with Colin, and keep your hand near the pause button in case I need you to stop. Thanks.
All human beings are the same in one aspect. If you're afraid of flying and you're on a plane and the minute turbulence hits, where does your mind go? Back to your fears. So I reported a year ago, Seth Wickersham reported it today, that Caleb was worried about the history of the Bears offense. And so you didn't inherit it. That's not your issue. You don't care about that. But there is a psychology, Ben, that's true. He goes into a 2-week.
Really quick?
We were just talking about that.
I think this is a dumb thing to say to Ben Johnson, though. Like, you don't care about that. Of course he cares about that. He was called in to fix it. He knows it, too. Like, I get that he doesn't care about what happened there before and stuff, but you also have to have an understanding of what went wrong before in order to steer things in the right direction.
And you don't want to repeat it.
You have to do your due diligence here. There's he does care what's going on. I understand the sentiment that's trying to be made here, but it's not necessarily the right one.
Gotcha.
Go ahead.
Losing streak, and it's turbulence on a plane that he was scared to fly anyway. How do you ensure during the turbulence of this season, and there will be, your division's too good. There's too many good teams on the schedule. How do you ensure he doesn't lose faith?
Pause this before he answers. So don't lose sight of the question, like, how do you keep Caleb Williams' head above water when things go bad? But I think it's amusing that he's telling Ben Johnson basically, like, oh, you're going to lose some games, like things are going to go bad. And like, I mean, we don't know that. We don't know that for sure.
Well, you're not going to win every single game. You might lose a game here and there, but
I don't think anyone's expecting the Bears to go out and be, the undefeated New England Patriots, the best team of all time. I don't think anyone's expecting that.
No.
Could the Bears go 4-2 against their division this year? Yes, they could. And that's something that I don't think anyone has them really doing right now. But I think they could. I think they could take the league by storm. We see teams all the time make big leaps when they make good managerial or head coaching changes. And I do believe the Bears made a good one here. Can we hear Ben Johnson's answer, though? Because this is all kind of in relation to his psychology. He was saying, like, how do you get him, like, when you lose 2 in a row, from, like, going back to thinking how he did this past season, maybe. So let's get into it with Ben Johnson, the new head coach of the Bears.
Faith and belief in your system.
Well, you talk about fears, and I don't see it quite the same way. I see this as what a great opportunity we have to do something that really has never been done. There hasn't been a 4,000-yard passer here in this franchise, and I think Caleb's going to be the first one, and one of many years, many seasons to come where he's able to accomplish that feat. So I see a chance for greatness here for him. He's been communicated that way, and he feels the same way. I don't know what's gone on prior to him joining the organization, but he is very proud to be a Chicago Bear. That's what our conversations have included, and he's really excited to get to work right now and be the best version of himself for 2025. There's no question we're going to face adversity. Both he will. He's not going to.
Let's pause it for 1 second. This is a second part of his answer here about adversity. We'll get to that in 1 second. But before this, I think he's saying all the right things here. That a lot of what we talked about. I keep going back to Jordan and the Bulls, and because the Bears are in such a dysfunctional state last year, right? Like, awful head coaching, probably awful coaching down the board, if we're being honest. Most of it. I think only one coach stayed on the team, and that was the special teams coach, Richard Hightower.
That's it, huh? Out of all the coaches
all
that we
the
saw.
coaches.
Wow.
So it's a whole new regime, really. And like I said, I do feel like finally the Bears got it right. You know, Nika and I follow a lot of baseball on a regular basis, and not to get too off track here or anything, but we saw firsthand what happened to the San Diego Padres since they hired Mike Shildt as their manager, a manager who has never missed the postseason, by the way. And you see the start that they're off to this year. Just he seems to have instituted a culture around the team, and I think Ben Johnson is going to do something similar for the Bears. I hope Craig Counsell is doing something similar in Chicago. I don't know if I've seen it as much as I've seen with Mike Shildt, only because Mike Shildt talks about what he's doing so often, about taking what the game gives you and things like that. And we hear Ben Johnson talk about the game similarly, like Caleb needs to take what the game gives him. It's like, oh, I like coaches that talk like this. It's speaking my language, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I also feel like he understands that Caleb has a chance to be a superstar like Michael Jordan level for the city of Chicago.
And that's very important, because if you embrace that, the sky is the limit.
Yeah, and you have to embrace it.
Yes.
You have to look at this as like
A
the
challenge.
you know? Like in a way you were fated to come here. You have to believe that.
Well, you make your own faith in a way.
Yeah, I go back and look at that Bulls 1984 team. Look how bad and dysfunctional they were. Look at the state of what that team was in. And I think, you know, we hear MLB insiders wanting Paul Skeens to get traded already because he's on the Pirates. And it's like, let's give these teams that aren't so in such a great place an opportunity to at least take stock of what they do have and try to build something around it. Patience. Yoda. We've been learning this stuff for years and years and years. It's whatever fairy tales you want to go back to. We need to exercise more patience.
The
social media world has instilled a need for instant gratification into our society, and it's trickling into the sports world and the sports team building world now, to the point where it's like,
now
you have to fix this now. We can turn this around now, and I think sometimes it's harder, but it's better if you do a more thorough deep dive, get into the weeds, clean it up, move on.
You don't put a Band-Aid on a big wound. You got to clean it up. You got to do all the other stuff before it festers and before it heals.
100%.
The same concept.
Yeah.
Nothing happens overnight. They didn't build the Rome overnight.
No.
It took years. The same with building a team. It takes a season, maybe two.
It does.
Who knows?
This and let's get into this answer here, because he's going to talk about the struggles that are going to be still coming. All right, let's hear it.
He will. He's not going to. We want to see growth from here to here over the course of the season. It's not going to be linear growth. It's going to be a little bit of ups and downs and stair steps along the way. But we want to see from game 1 to game 17 that we're getting better as a whole. And that's not just him. That's us as a team as well. So I'm excited. That's what makes coaching fun, is when the hiccups occur, when the adversity strikes, how do we respond to it? That's when you find out who you are as a man.
Exactly.
I mean, the one thing I really like about Ben Johnson and just hearing him here is he is going to challenge players to be better than they are. And that is an important aspect that gets lost in a lot of modern coaching. I think a lot of coaches are afraid to challenge players at the professional level because of their egos. And yet that's the easiest way to lose respect of your players as a manager, is when you don't challenge them. So I like the fact that Ben Johnson here is not only challenging Caleb Williams, but he's really challenging everyone on the team, you know, to be better, to come in and I remember when he said something at his opening press conference about be prepared to be uncomfortable, you know, like don't get comfortable anymore. Like we are going to shake you out of your apathy almost. But we are going to shake things up around here for sure. And it seems like, again, it's hard not to be excited because of how bad it's been here. And then you finally go out and you get a good quarterback in the draft, a potential franchise quarterback, and now you give him an offensive mind to actually work with and prepare with and plan with and attack with. Like, I see exciting things for my future as a Bears fan, and yet I won't believe it until I probably see it on the field, Nika.
That's probably a good thing.
It probably is, but it's hard not to be excited about what could possibly be.
For sure.
All right. Well, kudos to Ben Johnson. As you can see, this was time-stamped at 11:43, and that article went out at 9:28 earlier, I showed you. So almost within 2 hours, he was on with Colin Cowherd on his podcast or his show here. It looks like it's on FS1, Fox Sports, but it's also on YouTube and everywhere else you can find social media.
Just
and
like
that's where we
are.
found this. And so, yeah, kudos again to
Yes.
getting out in front of this story before it had even 24 hours to permeate without no comment from the Bears.